Yo, what's going on, everyone? I'm making a video real quick to show you guys in my opinion, I think some of the best trinkets are for Brewmaster, for Mythic Plus and World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth. This will probably be through 8.0 and 8.1. I'm mostly going to be covering like dungeon trinkets from 5-mans. The raid trinkets really aren't worth mentioning, at least when it comes to dungeon content. But Brewmaster does have a pretty good selection of trinkets from 5-mans. So, to start off, Taldazar, I believe it drops from, yeah, Priestess Alunza. This Midas Talisman, I have one. It's at 355, Mythic 10. It really isn't that useful. It just turns your, like as you can see, the use turns your hands to gold, causing your next 5 auto attacks to deal, 2,000 extra damage. What is it? I gotta see the 2,800 as opposed to, okay. So the scale is relatively low. It's kind of a low number. Auto attacks, I mean, are okay, but it's not the only thing that you would really want it for. Is if you don't have another better trinket and you need the agility. Not worth getting. Freehold from Harlan Sweet. Harlan's Loaded Dice. I have actually a base mythic version of this right now, and it's probably one of the best trinkets that Brewmaster can get, just because of the proc for mastery and crit. You don't need haste as Brewmaster, it's useless, but mastery helps with your elusive brawler stacks, and crit helps with the chance of receiving higher heals. So this is probably one of the strongest trinkets. I don't know how well it scales as you get higher item levels, but right now I know that I have 21% critical strike. I actually dropped a percent of verse for this percent of crit, but I have 21% crit. If I get a good proc on the loaded dice, this can go up to 24, maybe 25%, which is super big right now for the low gear that we are. I'm only 360 equipped. So a big proc on crit is really useful, especially if you have a resto druid healer. The hots that they have on you, they have just an insane amount of chance to take critical strikes on you, which gives you big heals. Um, in King's Rest, there's Machimba's Ritual Bandages, which is a use trinket on a minute and 30-second cooldown, and it absorbs 42,000 damage for 6 seconds. It can be useful. With the changes to Mythic Plus now, where you can't change gear in the middle of a dungeon, that kind of renders this useless. But the DPS can get this also, but that we're not focusing on that. In terms of a tanking trinket, if you have it, if it's all you have, use it. But there's definitely much better, like the trinket that drops from the Golden Serpent. This is an agility only trinket. So strength, people who need strength, classes who need that can't get that. This is probably right next to Harlan's Loaded Dice in terms of priority. It's a big versatility increase. I have one that's also, I think, 340. It might be a little bit higher. No, it is 340. 721 versatility for 20 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. If I had 10% versatility, that would probably put me up to about 17-18%, which is huge. So later on in the expansion, and even now, if we get more gear and our crit and verse go up like relatively well together, like in the end of Legion I had around 22% verse and like 32% crit, which is good. This will be a really big trinket, because versatility increases the damage that you do and decreases damage that you take. So it'll be like a little extra, I don't know, 5-6% damage reduction, which is like Brewmaster, just it's even more damage smoothing. From Shrine of the Storm, Gale Color's Boon. My friend actually just got this trinket yesterday from his chest, I believe, and I was trolling him about it, but it's useless. Like, the only thing good it has for Brewmaster is agility. Otherwise, it increases your haste and speed. It's not. We're the most mobile tank class, second most mobile tank class, and Haste is a useless stat to us, so we'll just forget about that. Deadeye Spyglass from Siege of Borealis. This can be good. I have one as well. It's like 345. I would probably only recommend using it on tyrannical weeks for boss fights. Even on not tyrannical, if you're like in a pug or something, the DPS is kind of low. The amount of crit that it gives you, stacking up to 5 times, is like decent. It's like a little over 600 crit, which is like, you know, probably give you 5 or 6%. I'm not sure the exact numbers. But it's good, but you have to only focus one target. You have to attack one target, and if you switch, you can keep the stacks that it puts on, but they will drop and you can't refresh them. You'll have to start building up stacks on that other target. It's a good trinket, but I recommend for Brewmaster probably only use it on bosses because I don't think it'll have enough uptime on trash. I could be wrong, that's just my opinion. It's a good trinket, but probably, you know, best used on bosses. This I have right now, tiny electromental, yeah, electromental in a jar. I have it at 355. I got really lucky. First mythic I ever did was Temple, and I got this right here. It's not. I want to get something better to replace it. Like ideally, I want like a 380 as of right now, because that's like 385. Just whatever highest item level I can get. Harlan's loaded dice and the plumage from King's Rest. But this is what I got to work with, and I'm definitely not gonna throw this on over this just because of the agility and the item level that I get from it as of right now. It's the little ads in Temple of Sithralis where you attack them and they gain energy, and then when they're full energy they release a burst. That's what this is. It's a little bit of extra damage. Nothing too crazy. Motherload. This trinket is kind of like, I mean, it's good. Your attacks have a chance to harmonize with the shark, granting you 861 agility for 15 seconds. So the procs on that are, you'll probably have it up for almost 100% uptime. I'm not gonna try and figure out the numbers or anything like that. It's a pretty good trinket just because of the agility that it gives, which will help with dodge chance, and dodge chance helps with elusive brawler. So I mean, it's a decent one. Not better than Harlan's loaded dice or the plumage in my opinion. Now, right up there with Harlan's loaded dice and the plumage is this lingering spore pods. I have a 340 version of this. This is probably, I don't know, man. This thing checks like every box when it comes to the tanking trinkets. Your attacks that you deal to enemies and attacks dealt against you have a chance to trigger spores to grow for 4 seconds before bursting. When they burst, they restore 10,000 health. That's a decent amount of health. It'll probably scale a little bit higher with item level, so I'm trying to get a higher item level version of this. And it'll also deal damage split among enemies within 8 yards. So, as Brewmaster, this is probably a trinket that you're going to want as well. Just because it'll help give you a little extra burst of healing while fighting, so you don't have to stop and cast Vivify on yourself, and it'll do a little bit of extra damage. But the reason I say you probably want this more is because you'll get a lot of procs out of it in Mythic Plus from all of the trash that'll be attacking you, especially on fortified weeks. Like right now it's teaming, quaking, fortified, super toxic. But this has a really high proc chance on big trash packs, and I mean the extra healing helps, you know. So really, I think it's probably one of the best trinkets, right below Harlan's loaded dice and the plumage. Tolda Gore, I believe there's, yeah, the cannonball runner. I have a 360, I think it's 365. No, 360. I have a 360 version of this. It's, I mean, if you don't have like one of these three, Harlan's loaded dice, plumage, or the spore thing, use this. It's a little bit of extra damage on trash pulls and stuff like that. It just helps increase your DPS by a little bit. You can you have a chance to proc multiple cannons at once. It's a relatively decent trinket. I wouldn't call it trash, but I wouldn't really call it that. I wouldn't think it's that great either. Waycrest Manor. There is no trinket in Waycrest, so that's yeah. So the top trinkets that you want as Brewmaster are Harlan's Loaded Dice, Lustrous Golden Plumage. Harlan's is from Freehold, Plumage is from King's Rest, and the Lingering Spore Pods, which drops from Underrock. Those are your three best trinkets, hands down. Um, try and farm them out. Do what you can. If you don't have them, other trinkets will do. But if you're trying to do higher Mythic Plus content, that's probably what you're gonna want to go with. And just like a, you know, yeah, just a general sense, those are probably what Brewmaster will want to run with anyway. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.